Good morning. This is Site Plan Review Committee meeting for June 26, 2018. Members present today are Dana Bringiforti, City Assessor, Pat DeMarco, Code Consultant, Ben DeCristoforo, Building Inspector, Frank Stringy, City Planner, Nick Rystrom, City Engineer, Paul Chivas, Fire Prevention, Paul Argenzio, DPW, Don Chiramello, Water and Sewer, and Mark Locke, Plumbing Inspector. The first item on the agenda is 60 Revere Beach Boulevard, new construction of a hotel. '60.
Actually, the address is one of the refinements.
Yeah.
In terms of the project, we would like to brand it as 58. I believe the records like 56 to 60. Is there any problem with us labeling the project as 50?
I'll defer to the City Engineer and Fire Department on that one.
I'll have to take a look at that because I believe that I've already taken those groups and assigned it a 50.
50?
Yeah.
50 would include...
Right? On the boulevard?
This is
50
This
was
is the new
last,
one.
the first one.
This is a different one.
Yeah, next door.
Okay, so
That was
50.
49.
50, no, it's 49 to 55.
Yeah.
He officially assigned it
50.
50.
Okay. So this is the one that's like 56 to 60.
Can make it 58.
58. I believe in your database it was listed as 60, which
Yeah, I have it as
is
60.
it was filed.
I have it as
that
60,
way,
right.
but,
Is there some reason that 58 is more preferable to 60?
yes,
Yeah,
we
there
have
is.
Investors
That like that.
that
Lucky-
prefer
lucky
Yeah,
number.
it's a, yeah, it's a,
One of those.
60 is an unlucky number apparently.
I understand, okay.
yeah.
Sure, that's fine.
Officially now 60, 58.
58.
City Engineer will write a letter to that effect.
All right, so like we talked about before, just let's not use 56 to 60 in any of your
Yeah.
documents. Stay with the
Stay
official.
with 58, okay, so we
Great.
change everything to
58,
58.
okay.
And the name of the development company, the LLC has been formed. Matt is saying from name that she wasn't able to go back in and change the name of the applicant on
Yes, basically online, it was a default from, I think, the previous owner's name. And then we are not able to change that, whether or not you,
Well,
like
as
in
far,
your...
as far as what you're uploading to, not to speak for anyone else, but the way I see it is, you can use that address and that, because that's the address you have to use in the permitting, but as far as your documents that you're uploading, just have the address that the engineer is assigning on.
If you want, use the permit number because that's not going to change.
Yeah.
Don't put any
Parcel number?
No, but if you reference the, as long as it's all under that same permit number, right?
With the,
The
he's talking
e-permit.
about with
Are
the
you
e-permit.
talking about e-permitting and then putting the information in e-permitting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to put an address, as long as you can put your map, lot, and parcel.
Yeah.
Okay, but for purposes of the,
Documentation?
Yeah,
no,
I'm telling him to use 58.
But you don't have to go back and, you don't have to go back and change it. You can reference the,
All communications from us will refer to 58.
and I will be filing a special permit application under 58, and also indicating that the name of the applicant will be different than the name that you, I mean, it will be in the name of Sunrise Development LLC. Do you have an address for that name?
Sunrise,
Yeah.
that's the same, it's 136, the same as from.
It's the-
Let me see, let me see, I
All
think
right,
I...
so this project will require a special permit. So through e-permitting, that communication to you regarding the special permit process will be emailed directly to you. It'll refer to 58.
So-
I thought the special permit applications were not an e-permit, that they had to be filed.
Not the special permit application, but the letter from Site Plan Review Committee
Yes.
to the applicant stating what mechanism is required for approval, whether it be
Okay, so-
ZBA or special
Okay,
permit.
so the denial letter will
Be a denial letter.
electronically, okay, so as soon as you get that.
Sending.
Okay, sure. So right now, the email I received from site plan review says 60. That's because the system automatically recognizes as 60. But,
the address of 60
but
is necessary.
on the plan, we all show 58 since the last conversation regarding which number to use. I think everything will still go under the file folder because apparently in the system, it only recognizes certain numbers as a folder. So I think that shouldn't be an issue that,
Can we make a
yeah.
correction in the permitting and then
Yeah,
60 to 50?
I'll make the change and then it gets updated every so often.
If you use the parcel ID, it won't matter, the address won't matter. So use the parcel
Map block
ID.
and parcel, do
So
not
it's
put in
8,
it.
140, 110
Use the parcel ID, that's the best way to go.
that you want to use.
8, parcel ID is 8?
8 dash 141
8-141.
dash 10.
That's 141 dash 10.
Right, that's the parcel ID.
Okay,
That's the best way.
okay.
Frank, I got two questions, sorry for being late. Is this gonna have a restaurant?
Yeah, we just started, we're gonna get through, we haven't had to make a presentation yet, we're just trying to square off the address parcel ID. Okay,
So, so it's, we're privileged to be able to work with you again on this second hotel. And the hotel, the location, everybody's familiar with? It's, yeah, it's right next to the 4954, basically the so-called 50 Riviera Beach Hotel, right next to it. And the location is very convenient, and in the second page, you can see how it's right next to each other. And because it is right off the beautiful sand beach and it's near the airport, either from the land, the sea, or from the air, the geometry and color of this building makes an impression. And this is also one of the design guidelines and considerations we had for the first hotel and the second hotel. This is the same. And then also there are some other similar design approaches that we use on the second hotel. However, there are some more challenges on the second hotel versus the first hotel that we had to deal with. And the first challenge is that the site of this second hotel has an irregular shape because a pizza shop in front cut off this corner. So the frontage of the second hotel is a lot narrower than the first hotel, which create a apparent disadvantage. The first hotel also has a connection between the Ocean Avenue and the Riviera Beach Boulevard. At the last meeting with the mayor also brought up about not having just the front beautiful, but the back should be considered, and this way it could activate the back area rather than just the beach side. And we took that into consideration, and that's also a challenge. And how do we create a connection? The first hotel had a connection through the restaurant, second floor, and then through the open space to the front, which is a public open area. So the first hotel has such a narrow frontage, and how do we create that? The third challenge is that the first hotel takes upon the language of the sand beach using solid, horizontal, angled balconies. The geometry appears very dominant. How can the second hotel coexist with the first hotel in harmony and yet present its own strong character that reflects the culture of the city of Revere and the designated area as a creative district? That's the city designated. When we first presented our initial concept, Mr. O'Brien and Frank, so Mr. O'Brien said that if we may use a metaphor, let's say if the first hotel is a sand sculpture, then the second hotel shall be about water. And we took that in and developed the building facade further into feasible wavy patterns. These are basically unitized, they are all same units, unitized glass or panels that capture the color and reflection from different angles, which are originated from the waves of the ocean. Same as the ocean, the facade would certainly reflect the ever-changing mood of the sky as the ocean waves do. Since the building faces east and west, we can imagine that at the sunrise and the sunset, the building may appear to be a golden lit lantern that relates itself to the color of the surroundings, the sun, the cloud, and the sky. To differentiate itself from the neighbor, we introduced the wide open archway, which is on the, this is the archway. So it's a wide open archway that's connecting the rear Ocean Avenue and the front beachside, visually and physically. By doing that, the first floor hotel frontage is actually extended. The hotel drop-off traffic reduced because people can extend into that passageway. And then open area with landscape, and the hotel, basically this area that's open, you see where the fountain and things are. So that area created a place for meeting and gathering and activities. I could imagine kids running around there. This helps to make the building more inviting to pedestrian and the beach public. But the design will further develop whether it's going to be a seating. We want to create this as a focus point. It may be a seating, maybe a sculpture, maybe fountain that's not finalized. And then in response to Mayor's request, if you look at the plan, on the second floor we have a event space. So Mayor would like to have some event spaces, and we reserve that front area that's facing ocean. So in the rendering, it's basically the second floor here. So this is approximately 4,000 square foot that has great views for any functions. And we have removable partitions to accommodate different sizes. Another feature that differentiates this second hotel from the first is the visible guest elevators that can be spotted from the beach. And at the same time, it provides hotel guests superb views to the beautiful beach landscape the city of Revere has to offer. These bubbly, identifiable, moving elements go through the double-height atrium space with skylight in the hotel lobby, and it rises all the way to the top of the building. The movement certainly differentiates itself from the still, you may say, sand sculpture next door. At our last meeting with the mayor, due to the concerns about the back facade of to activate the front. So the ideas that were generated from that meeting, and we found these images of a roller coaster, which create a that integrate with ceilings. That create to make the tourists and pedestrians stop and have a reflection, the moment of a reflection to the glorious past of the city of Revere, its history and culture. We felt that's very important to tie back into that. And then so mainly these are the preliminary designs and the ideas we have. And in the last page, we have the two hotels together, and we want to make sure that they are in harmony. So we made sure the front of the hotel is at a similar height, and in the back, there's a little setback to differentiate itself from the neighbor. So that's mainly, that's mainly the design proposal. I think in the parking, we discussed with Frank Finjam. I apologize that I used hand marked on that because when I spoke to Mr. O'Brien yesterday, we had made some minor changes on the number that basically we provided 81 parking spots on site and 75 parking spots off-site that's on the municipal parking lot nearby. And the attorney is working with Mr. O'Brien on a agreement on that, right?
Yeah, that's the parking garage.
So that's
MBTA parking garage
yeah.
at Wonderland.
Yeah,
I thought it's
yeah.
full.
That's for event, no, because it's off hour. So event, it's for the event because the mayor wants that event space, and we're thinking about when there's event, 150 people, then those 75 can park in the municipal lot because usually it's at night. and during the weekend where it's off hour, because the municipal parking is usually for people go to work, right? So it's during the day. So that seems to be a good match on that use, and then, yeah. So,
I've been in discussions with the MBTA on the subject matter. They've indicated that they do have available capacity for the times that we're talking about, and are willing to enter into an operating agreement for our use of those spaces in connection with public events. The need for these spaces is essentially being generated by the administration's desire to have a public event space on
Yeah.
the second floor.
So operation-wise, would you be valeting those vehicles to the garage and back? Or are these?
Well,
you don't-
we'll probably have shuttle, a combination of both. I'm sure there will be an operational shuttle during all these times. The shuttle will be important.
How
Yes.
big is the event space?
4,000 square feet.
So how
4,000.
many people is it?
so right now we're,
We're looking at 150.
150 for functional?
Yeah. So we'll need to see that operation plan and management plan on the parking, how you're gonna deal with that
I
shuttle.
don't, timing-wise, that's going to take some time, you know, it's like negotiating with the team. Should approval of that plan be made contingent to some step further down the line in the process? I mean, we can structure that.
Yeah, well, it'll have to be structured before, you go before the city council for the special permit. I mean, you're gonna have to have a plan in place.
so with a preliminary proposal, basically, if we pay the current parking rate, they don't have issue. It's really about negotiating on whether you can have a reduced parking rate. So, right?
No, it's gonna do with a reduced, rate. I have a letter, actually,
Well, he's looking for the letter. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Have you considered just adding another level of parking? Since it's all steel and concrete anyway?
So that's one of the challenges.
project?
Yeah, that's one of the challenges we had, is the irregular shape. If we look at the cellar plan, and then I have to have service loading area. So if I have to go down to the cellar in order to keep the front to the Beach
Right.
Boulevard flat, the first floor. So if I go up, I have another, the ramp goes up, then I can no longer have this lobby area.
Right, so what if you just put a half a level of parking in the back,
signed detail agreement, though.
in the back side of the building?
Yeah, but, yeah,
Keeping up?
yeah, the lot here is very constrained.
And my other question,
Yeah.
do you intend to build both of these hotels at the same time?
No, the first hotel, it's separate development.
I know, but are they gonna both try to construct them at the same time?
Just tell me
This
what you
will
think.
go full speed once the special permit, then building
This one?
department.
No occupancy permit.
For, that, the first, this one too,
Okay, one
because
speaker at a
different,
time. Let's,
yeah, sorry. So they were asking questions, sorry about
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have
So-
said, yeah.
So they're two separate hotels, but they'll probably both be going up at the same time.
Correct. Not at the same time, because the first hotel will probably finish earlier, because we still probably have half a year working on the plans, and then construction.
Okay.
Yeah, construction will be,
And they're both separate owners,
correct.
so they can't share the parking between the two hotels.
Correct.
Correct, yeah, they're separate owners.
Okay.
Chief, what was the answer why you can't go up another floor of additional parking?
Yeah, it's the
where the lot's laid
spatial
out.
constraints.
Because it's,
So,
the lobby won't be on the street
Flow
level.
from Ocean to Beach.
Throws off the whole design of the building.
otherwise, I have to cut this whole area. And on top of that, because the notch, the run, going down,
use that on floor.
going up, we'll have to go.
So you would have to go down, which would be very expensive. Right?
Yeah, subsurface parking,
If
yeah.
I go further down, it's, yeah,
Subsurface, yeah.
it's not, yeah, it's water, yeah.
Right, what, I'm not advocating that.
Okay, so how far have you advanced with the streetscape plan?
So we actually met with the beach review committee yesterday, and we discussed about some ideas. They are pretty good. They give us a couple comments on the front. They would like us to basically use the same setting of the neighbor, the planter box, so that it looks more uniform. So we'll make that change. And the other thing seems to be or in agreement that we're going to follow what the First Hotel has set. There are some standard that we have been going back and forth with bumps and with bump outs, right, to the streets and things to get DCP approved, DC, DCR approval. So we're going to follow similar guidelines on that. And then also the crosswalk also came up, but that's a conversation we have to have with the DCR, whether there should be so many crosswalks. So that's why we showed two options. One is those two has been approved by DCR. And then if we put a third one, is that too much? So it is brought up that by actually your office that whether we can just combine into one. And we have to talk to DCR on that.
Yeah, I think they'll be more pleased with that scenario than two or three.
Yeah, because otherwise the car has to keep stopping at every crosswalk. It doesn't seem to be.
And there are no driveway openings on Revere Beach Boulevard. Everything will be entering and exiting off of Ocean Avenue into the garage.
And then it's actually good because it has a passageway going through here, so this crosswalk actually makes sense too.
Frank, can we work with the DCR to make Ocean Ave to have some parking for the function hall? Because that part of the street usually has no one parking there.
On that side of Ocean Avenue is no parking? I thought there was,
There's never a lot of people parking.
yeah, no, that's available parking.
Right, but can we designate it during events?
No.
We
We can't put that restriction on that.
Because it would be nice to have a,
I know, but it's open public parking, and we can't restrict that.
Yeah, we
I
had.
don't think DCI would allow that.
Yeah, we had some issues with First Hotel just trying to have a 1 hour parking in front of our hotel. They're still objecting to that. So it's, yeah, I think it would be difficult.
are you
Yeah.
going to have a shuttle from the airport to the hotel all the time?
I think the shuttle.
Oh, shuttle, yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That will be in the parking plan.
Right, I would like to make that a site plan
Yeah.
condition.
Yeah, we require a transportation demand management plan for all these projects.
Because
which
that'll
include
cut down the
shuttling
number of guests with cars.
And, yeah, so that.
But that'll all be developed out with the special permit.
Yeah.
So-
Right now, this is just
Yeah.
a conceptual plan.
Yeah.
That's sufficient enough for us to review, to send them to the city council for a special permit. And then if they get approved, they'll be back to us with more
Right.
detailed plans, for site plans, engineering plans.
So since this hotel has shuttle already, so it's possible in the future as this develops, they will share shuttle service because there's a one crosswalk that, yeah.
Frank, I think the parking should be worked out before they go for their special permit.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
The shuttle, everything,
Yeah.
in one,
It'll be part of our recommendations of the city council,
okay,
part of the
that's
special
my
permit.
point.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume it would be attached as a condition of occupancy, but I mean, trying to actually work out agreement with the T between today and Friday are.
We understand that. We understand.
So, I mean,
There's ongoing discussions with the T, and it looks favorable
Right.
based on the letter you have submitted,
Right.
the letter of intent, and approval from the MBTA preliminarily
Right.
approving the plan. So what we will recommend is the TDM plan be put in effect in addition to that parking plan at the T station
right.
for shuttles back and forth.
And when,
To the airport.
to whom would the TDM be submitted and when? I mean, is that going to be required?
That'll be part of the final site plan review conditions, and will also be included in the special permit conditions.
Okay, it's part of the conditions, so.
But Frank, it'll be reviewed and approved by site plan review prior to building permit, right?
Right, that's
Yeah,
my point. You can't
exactly,
get a
yeah.
building permit without
Correct.
having the parking straightened out.
We
That has
should
to
all
be
review
in
that.
place prior to issuance of a building permit.
Yep.
Okay, now, there was talk about a ancillary restaurant in this hotel.
So the restaurant is on the, if you look at the first floor plan, so the restaurant is only for the hotel guests, because it's pretty small,
Okay.
yeah. So this is a restaurant, and then this is the hotel lobby with a atrium space.
And is that on the mezzanine level, or is that on ground?
This is ground floor, and the second floor has a balcony.
Right.
Yeah. So this is second floor, has a balcony and function space.
Public will be able to come in and attend and go to the restaurant, attend the guests.
That small restaurant, it's only this small. So, because the next door actually has a public open restaurant that's very big, and then we figured that we already have this big restaurant next door, it might be good that for this restaurant, yeah. So the event space, this one is decent space. Basically, the restaurant, the next door is better. So I think it's complementary to each other.
So how many seats are we talking about in this small?
So this is about
Well, 96.
90, yeah,
Yes, I think it's
How many
more,
seats?
96.
more related to your work. It's an open restaurant, you're just assuming that the public won't use it as much.
So
say
right
it's a closed
now,
restaurant for the hotel, I don't quite understand that.
because hotel guests, in the morning, this is probably fully occupied for, or the
So
So it's
hotel
not a
has breakfast.
full-service restaurant.
Yeah, it's not full-service restaurant.
It's gonna be similar to the Comfort Inn.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
It's probably continental breakfast.
yeah, like, yeah.
So it's-
That's what the owner is considering now, so that's
so
the
you
kind of
should
program
think
from
about
the
that,
owner.
labeling as opposed to labeling it as
Right.
a restaurant.
I will accessory to hotel, shall I say?
No,
that?
rather than restaurant, what would be?
Be a breakfast.
It'd actually be nice if it was a restaurant, someone could go in and have lunch.
I don't think they have a kitchen
Well, they have a large kitchen, because
Yeah.
it serves a function hall.
upstairs, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, if that's preferred, but, yeah. Right now, it's the hotel use only, but if it's approved, later, can they open? I don't know.
No,
Yeah.
what would be the correct terminology for restaurant to serve patrons, code-wise?
So it's really the indication of the
Right.
parking, I would think.
No, that's a separate question.
Well, you need to look at it, come back and tell us, you're gonna put a definition of what the use is.
Right now, it's just the hotel accessory use, yeah, not open to public.
So that brings me to look at what you put in there for a kitchen, so now, if it's just a walking station, because of what it is versus full time.
No, the kitchen serves event.
Full kitchen.
The kitchen serves upstairs, yeah.
So we're gonna see that chapter to the roof, how we.
Yes. Yes, we'll have that, yeah.
So you're gonna be just doing breakfast there, or you're gonna be doing lunch and dinner?
Depends on the needs from the hotel guests, if they.
They haven't worked that out yet. It's a,
It's for the
right
guests.
now, we're viewing it as a restaurant space. Yeah, how they decide to use it, is up to them. Tell me.
So far as
Could be for breakfast or lunch only.
We're gonna have to look at next year, we sent us out.
You'll need that anyway.
We have a full service kitchen for the function, for the
Yeah.
function of those.
Yeah,
The amount of whoever doing the utility.
mm-hmm. Oh, sure, yeah, I will do that, yeah.
Okay, any other questions? No other questions? Okay, so for your permitting, you will be notified that this requires a special permit, and then you take that to the city clerk. Once you get that denial, you'll set up a public hearing for the city council. make your presentation to them. And prior to them voting on it, we have to issue a set of conditions, the city council attached to their special permit. Okay?
Can I ask one quick question?
Yes.
On your A7, there's the second floor where you have the event space. Room you have the north end of the building, pretty large area, you have it labeled just as mechanical. What
So,
mechanical requires that much area?
basically there are some, let me see, the first floor Beckham House, there's some mechanical from the garage area, and then we're just budgeting some of the spaces for, but we could,
Oh, great. Hopefully you can use that for storage, because that seems to be a major issue for hotels, so.
oh,
Under-
storage,
on
yeah, yes. Because that's like, that area doesn't have much views.
Yeah, so you can
So,
use that for
yeah.
table storage or whatever.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
The set of conditions will come before the public hearing or after the public hearing? I'm just trying to get a relative timeframe.
We try to get them before the public hearing.
Okay.
But that's not always the case, so
No.
it's usually before zoning subcommittee meeting.
But
For the
it's sort of
public hearing, we
right.
send it to zoning subcommittee.
Preferably before the public hearing, by the subcommittee.
Okay? Any more questions? All right, so look at that through e-permitting, and you'll get that, that letter.
Probably end of the day tomorrow.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah, it'll be very soon.
Okay.
Yeah. Who's ever on the e-permitting email list, whether it be yourself or anybody else, if you're on it,
I'm
it'll
not
go to
on
those.
the
Okay.
site. I couldn't
Okay.
get onto the system.
Yeah.
I didn't have a.
But the city clerk will also get a copy, so she'll have that.
Okay, so you're expecting when do I receive that?
Look for it by tomorrow,
By tomorrow? Oh, that's
Okay.
quick, yes. Great,
all right?
great. And
So
then,
you're looking to get on the city council.
The deadline apparently is Friday. I just checked with Ashley. I
All
didn't
right.
realize.
Oh,
it
you'll
would be
definitely have it by then. You'll have it by then.
okay, great.
You'll have it, I'll try to get it out today.
Yeah, just regarding the shuttle, I just have one question. Just in case in the future, the first hotel and second hotel want to share shuttle service to the airport.
That's what we expect, yes.
Oh, okay.
Shared shuttle service.
Okay, that can be part of the plan, okay.
No, it's two separate, no.
Yeah.
You're gonna present this as an individual,
Right.
the two hotels.
We're gonna make a representation that we will provide shuttle service. If that turns out to be shared or not, it's immaterial.
Right.
It's our obligation. We've got an obligation, they've got an obligation. If we care to execute it jointly, I don't think that's,
Sure.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Site plan for 140 Shirley Avenue.
So we're just, considering what kind of project we can do here at 140 Shirley Ave. My name's Doug McDougal Architects, and this is Mike Song, he's the owner. What we did, is we have a zoning, we did some zoning research on existing versus, what we'd like to do. So the building right now currently has 10 units in it, 10 apartments, and the top floor used to be one very tall, sort of like this, one big tall space. And before our client purchased it, they put in a ceiling, and up above is just empty, there's nothing there. So you've got a 9.5-foot ceiling, and you've got a structure, and you've got about 7 feet to your above. So what we'd like to do is one of two things. What we'd like to do, we prefer to be able to add apartments on it, take the ceiling out, make it an 8-foot ceiling with the structure, and then have another 8-foot, like 8-2 or whatever, ceiling up above, have another layer of units, and we could add 3 units. That's one option, so we'd like to know, now we're over, I mean, if you look at what's required for today versus what we have existing, one of the issues is the FAR in that area says 1.5, and existing is 3.
So you're a pre-existing non-conforming structure.
Yes.
It's gotta be this.
Any extension,
We wouldn't be doing
expansion
anything.
requires special permit from the city council.
Correct, I understand that part. But we're not gonna be adding anything to the building, we're not going up, we're not going out, we're within our walls and our footprint. So I understand the special permit that we'd have to go for. I guess our question is it feasible that you would let us add the units?
How many units?
No.
How many units are you proposing?
There's 10 now, and we could add 3. So that would give us 13.
By reducing the existing size of the
I guess
units?
we can add 4. We can add up to 6, but I'm trying to be conservative.
How many, what's the breakdown of bedrooms from the units now?
I haven't been through it, we just met.
Only we're talking about only the 3rd floor right now.
Right, but how, in the building, there's 10 units.
10 residential and 3 commercial.
Yeah, but what's the breakdown of bedrooms per unit?
For the,
You're showing here on your farm, is that correct, 9 bedrooms?
That's what it says on the city's assessor thing.
So no verified.
No, I haven't been through to verify it now.
So there's 9 bedrooms and 10 units?
There's 10 residential units?
Yes, there's 10 units.
No, we said 10, how many residential, how many commercial?
10 residential, 3 commercial.
3 commercial.
So one's a studio?
Or it's a studio.
I can't
And
get
then
on
this-
the Patriots.
Then as far as the,
So they're all one
on the
bedroom?
corner,
Yeah, I guess.
All one bedroom and 1
She
studio.
has a 1 or 2 bedroom.
Shouldn't be like that. Should be not. It's a 6 unit, pretty big. It's two, or at least 2 or 3 bedroom. Only 4 units are 1 bedroom.
Say that one more time,
Only
please.
4 units are 1 bedroom.
4 units in 1 bedroom, what are the other units?
The other unit, 2 or 3.
2 or 3?
2 or 3,
so there's more bedrooms than the assessor says.
yeah. So we have to,
Okay.
we can get in there and inspect it, we can get the information
Yeah.
correct, that'd be good.
And we would, I mean, I would get you all of the information. So the question is, if we can add units on the top, we take it apart and put our windows and do all the egress and all that stuff. And then, on the bottom, there is a restaurant that eventually we would like to get rid of and make it into a residential unit. Because it just creates a lot of
No, that's the
smell.
No.
Yeah, I would be,
Yeah, I'm not-
How many bedrooms will the new units be?
1 or 2.
Well, 1 or 2.
1 or 2, it depends, because, we have some beams up top that we have to contend with, how these beams like come down. So some units would only be 1 bedroom. It might be like 2 units or 1 bedroom, 2 units or 2 bedrooms, if we did 4. We'd have to lay it out. But I didn't want to spend the time to lay it out if there was a big,
And why would you want to get rid of the commercial space? Surely Ave's starting to take off.
well, just not a restaurant.
Yeah, well, that's fine, I mean,
Okay.
but we have to maintain that
Commercial
first
floor
floor area
commercial?
is
Okay.
commercial,
Okay,
whether it be office, or retail, or restaurant.
and there's not really a problem with getting rid of the restaurant, right?
No,
Like office space or something like that?
no,
No, not at all.
no, as long as it remains commercial.
Okay, all right. Okay,
So this is a mixed-use building, we want to see it remain as a mixed-use building.
okay.
Obviously, right now, this building does not have any parking
No.
whatsoever.
No parking at all.
So I think it's feasible, come back with a floor plan and elevation plans, how you're going to improve the building, and especially the storefront areas. And we'd be open to discussion on that. And let's see what your plans are, and we'll send you to the next step with the city council for a special permit.
Okay.
But if it sounds like it's going to be an overall improvement to the building and to the area, then we'll work with you to accomplish that.
Okay. So, thank you.
All right, so, on that official document, based on our model and what you're looking at, you determine the level of the remodel. You may add some to the building based on size, so that has to be a discussion we have.
Not afraid the fire alarm system.
I understand. Okay, thank you.
Next site plan is for 44 Railroad Street. Wellness Connection. 44 Railroad. The Wellness Connection.
In the future, we'll take the little guys first. All right, Rick.
So we have
Morning.
Attorney Rick Bennett here with us today, and Rick Salvo, along with myself on this project, site plan review. Frank, I just want to provide you a memo as to the status limits with regards to the statute. Of course. If you had any questions about the other, I believe we have significant time.
There was an appeal, remember, of the special permit, so Larry pointed out that very often it's handy to have a record for the file of when the appeal told it and the timing and everything, so
Essentially,
figured we'd put it together for you guys.
Okay.
looking at the timeline,
All right. When was the special permit issued?
it was issued on December 7th,
2017?
2015. So, after that, you go
Yeah.
2 years, but the
Right.
2 year period was told by the litigation, there were 2 pieces of litigation.
Okay.
And then subsequent to that, we then had to, after the litigation ended, we hired engineers and consultants and so forth. But the litigation ended on August 22nd, 2016. Shortly thereafter, my client opened up his facility on September 1, 2016. So our position is September 1 could conceivably the beginning of the use, but if the building inspector or the zoning officer wanted to look into construction, because the statute talks about use and construction, then you would go to the law dealing with construction, and that would establish that as long as you make a diligent search, a diligent effort to get all the permits necessary in order to open the use, that period is told as well. And we laid out the facts for you, and just for the record.
Yeah, if you guys, we've got tons of backup.
Just for the record, this is the first time I'm seeing this document.
No, I know, we just put it in there, we're filing for the record. We
Yeah.
believe that we have
Yeah.
more than sufficient time left in light of the litigation and the need to attain the second permit, Mr. Christopher, which was a special permit to modify a non-conforming structure that was granted on April, I believe it was April 3rd, 2017. That was the last.
You already
permit we
pulled
needed.
demolition permit, correct? For the building?
Correct. Yeah.
Demolition's ongoing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the statute says that you need to commence construction, you need to build a permit, you need a building permit and commence construction. That's how the case law comes down on triggering the special permit. But if you look at the memo, we have plenty of time in light of the fact that we really couldn't build the building without the special permit for the modification of non-conforming use, which was granted on April 3rd, 2017.
Okay.
So you're 710 days from there, because we lost 20 days with the litigation.
Okay. So we did a site plan review on this already. So are you here just to confirm the legitimacy of the special permit?
I think
In
with
terms of
that,
its
and walk you through
being
the site plan.
exercised, the rights being exercised? Okay.
Yes, it's mainly because we're now, we've got the full building plan set. I know that everybody's been around bugging each of you to get the input or
Yes.
We upload them.
Yep.
Does anybody want, I think the deputy already has Dropbox. Do you guys want them emailed to you too, or just that upload?
Just the upload.
Just the
Depending on the
upload.
size of the file, it may have to be done in separate files.
Okay, I think it's pretty big, though.
Yeah.
I'll make sure.
You may have to break them up.
Okay, I'll tell them. So that's it, we're ready to hold the building permit, so the demo started, so we came in to tell you guys that, so.
Okay.
That's really the purpose.
Mr. Stringy, just for a second, just for the record, this is the first time we're here before you on site plan for a building permit. We've been before you for site plan for both special permits in order to get findings and recommendations. So today is our first time we've been before you in preparation for the building permit.
Frank, didn't you already issue an order of conditions?
Oh, we did.
So let's just review them and see if we need to add anything.
Right, that's exactly right, Chief. And
Yeah.
Was the
you've given us
lighting-
conditions before with both
The lighting and the
permits.
landscaping was all in there? And the security plan,
Yes,
the fencing?
yes,
Right, this has been an ongoing thing for
yeah,
years.
yeah.
Well, have Rick take it from here.
So we should just see where we're at if anything changed.
We'll have to,
I think everyone's familiar enough with the site. This is the building that's being demolished right here. This will become the newly constructed cultivation facility. This building is currently non-conforming in nature and encroaching onto the railroad right-of-way by about 3 feet or so. The dispensary you just see next to you will be in this area over here. That would just be a rehab and interior fit-up of that existing building.
Rick, when you rebuild, you'll be off the right of way?
Yeah, so when we demolish that building, we'll reconstruct this building here with a 0 lot line setback here and about a 1 foot setback here, which is what was in the special permit drawing that was granted back in April. So access from the site will continue to be from Railroad Street. We're proposing to put sort of a planter in this area here. We have to maintain access through various easements for this facility and this facility out through this right-of-way. So we have an opportunity to put some plantings and greenery in here. Over here, we're gonna put a brick paver strip because we still have to allow for vehicles to access this loading dock here, so we can't put a curbing or anything that would block them off. That'll allow us to put a security gate in this location right here, and another security gate in this location right here. So folks will pull in, come over here, park, access the dispensary, be the majority of the public visiting the site. Obviously, it would just be workers that would be accessing the cultivation facility. The whole site will be fenced off. We do not have a lighting plan yet. We're still compiling the lighting plan. The lighting plan will be put together to make sure the whole place is adequately lit for security purposes and cameras. I don't know, have we determined what the material of the fence is gonna be yet?
I think it should chain link. Yeah. You know, something.
Is there a preference?
Well, I think the place should be a little more secure than a chain link fence.
Yeah, the building.
You can just cut it and go in.
What's that?
Well, let me ask this,
So you'd
will this
rather-
be staffed 24 hours a day?
Yes.
There'll always be someone on
There'll
site?
be somebody or you know, security or whatever, either working.
On
So
site.
it's a cultivation, 24-hour day
And
cultivation.
with the fence, in conjunction with the fence, will there be outside cameras?
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
outside cameras,
that's what
Security
I'll do.
cameras?
Let me have one of the guys actually contact you, whoever you want us to. There will be cameras like you won't
Okay.
believe.
If
And you
there's
actually-
someone on site monitoring the security, then the
Yeah,
chain link
and
fence.
not
will
only,
be on.
not only that,
Yeah,
the,
is there a better preference in your mind?
yeah, we'll put in whatever you want, if you think there's
Well,
something.
they have the rod, not rod
Tubular
iron,
steel.
but the, what's it called, fence?
Tubular
Like the
steel.
stadium, the metal fence.
tubular steel.
Tubular steel fence.
Yeah, we can bring that back and make that part of our next.
Just so we can go to the record, in your findings here, and I think we had them before, that when we came for a building permit, we would, you know, when we go to the point where we're trying to occupy the premises, we would provide you a full security layout. We had Guy Galotis, I don't know if you remember Guy
Yeah,
Galotis.
but we
He's
want
our-
that spelled out
he's our-
before the permit, Larry,
We're
so
gonna-
there's
we'll-
no disagreement.
Okay, well, we can do that as well.
That's why
I
we're
think-
here now.
Right. I think what we were talking about, trying to get something done before the occupancy, so that you'd be satisfied and everybody would be satisfied.
Yeah, Chief, just so you know, don't quote me, I think it's 124 cameras. The the regulations actually require 24/7, 365 monitoring by the state, and then also you. So by you, I mean, obviously, police department will have 24/7, you can dial in and look at it anytime you want or whatever. What I would suggest is, that we have the.
Fire too, because of the systems that are in here.
Yeah, the public safety, however the city wants it, it's easy.
This isn't the first grow facility, so there's already some standard practices that have been established.
Yep.
On the fire service.
Yeah, I think they're doing it, knowing Matthew with belt suspenders and staples too. I think he's really overdone it, but, what I would suggest is whoever you guys tell us, we'll have the security consultant actually, and once, they've got down to what camera and all that stuff, so they can tell you guys, and it probably doesn't have to be done in the big group, but Chief, should I have them go through you to set up a meeting and then haul them down, and then anything you have with respect to security on top of that, you can just mention at the same time, whether it's the type of gate or fencing or whatever. I think it's probably more productive.
Well, that's the way it's written now, it's security system to be approved by the chief of police.
Okay, so we'll get a hold of you.
Yeah.
Great.
And then, can I put something out there, or is there?
Sure.
Are you in contact with anyone who's built another facility in the state?
Yes, yeah,
Chief, that may be an approach you want to do, is maybe see the existing facility.
Right.
That
Yeah.
might build, see what
Be
they
happy
do
to.
in practice.
I have
Yeah.
regulations.
Our primary, associations with Wellness Connection Maine, there's a guy, Jacques Santucci, who started that 7 years ago. He's actually got he's been running a legally licensed, at least from the state perspective, facility, longer than anybody else east of the Mississippi. And he is a wealth of knowledge. Then we've hired, I'm gonna get it wrong, Land Tech, I think it is, the one that does a lot of stuff for the state and maybe even a lot of municipalities too, as the ones who are drilling down on the specific with the cameras and all that stuff. So what I'd suggest is whatever you guys want to see, I'll let them know, bring those guys in so you can sit down with them. And I have no knowledge, but they are a wealth of knowledge and they've got a lot of experience.
Heavy gauge chain link might be fine, and then the tubular in the front, so it'll look
front.
that. We can
Okay,
discuss
pass that on. Again, I don't think it's a big deal, whatever
All right.
you guys want. is
Yeah, there was
fine.
some talk about building some walls and just have the gate. So have a vertical wall sticking up and then, yeah.
Yeah.
Right
So,
in the gate.
Put the name of it on.
Currently being classified, it's not being classified as farm color, it's being classified as a secure building, right?
I would think so. The architect's not here. I
It's
don't
not
know.
an agricultural building.
I'm sorry?
It's not considered an agricultural building.
I don't know. I can get you that answer.
The primary construction, I think, Dan, you probably know this, is they ended up doing, Can-Am, I think is the company.
Pre-engineered steel building.
Yeah, pre-engineered steel, but again, when you get into security on it, they have everything from swipe cards to, the double
Yeah, they are-
entry to, I think this is the best way to do it, because I've just sat in on a couple meetings and don't know what the heck we're talking about, drive you guys to do, and they can walk you through all the security stuff, and it's impressive.
Yeah, plus we do have Guy Galotis as our security consultant.
Yeah,
He
he's-
made the presentation to
Yeah.
council, and he'll be there with
He's in
anybody
charge
we're
of
gonna
it.
hire.
I'll drag Guy in and Land Tech, and then everybody, get them in a room for you guys.
Yeah, was your question relative to building code classification or?
A little both, because if it's considered an agricultural building, it brings in different things with the code, but because of the security measures in here, in the change of environment for the grow facility, it makes it more of a concern for us.
Okay, yeah, and like I said, we couldn't have a separate sit-down with the architect and their consultants with you when we get to that point. I think it probably makes a lot of sense.
Can we talk about circulation, traffic coming into the building and leaving the building? Because right now, it's just an open area, and I know
Yeah,
there's
that's right.
plans we
Yeah,
talked
that's why we're
about.
trying to channelize things a little bit.
Channelizing traffic a little bit
Yeah,
better.
and if you see the difference between what's there now, obviously industrial, is just kind of a sea of pavement and sort of a free-for-all out there. We're trying to use the planter and the 4-foot wide paver strip over here to create sort of a channelization so people will recognize the entrance. There'll be a discrete sign over in this area over here. Folks will pull in off of Railroad Street. pull into the site. Majority of the people will pull in over here and access the cultivation facility, ADA, full ADA access over this area, and then obviously there's all this parking back in here. In terms of loading and unloading, loading will occur, trucks will pull in and back into a garage door that is right here. There's full access here, turnaround for large vehicles or small vehicles, whether they're box trucks, trailer trucks, or whatever the case may be. But all the access and egress will be obviously via Railroad Street. That's the only street frontage and access to the building. To access the building itself, there's access points, multiple access points along the front of the building, which will obviously be secure.
It's just that there are multiple buildings with multiple uses that share that same
Yeah, that's why there's going to be a
access
distinct
onto the
break
railroad.
right here.
So we need to channel that in distinct from those other buildings and just create a flow
Correct.
directly to the facility.
Yeah, that's why this area here is where we want to kind of, we'll have our access gate. And once you're beyond this gate, then you're strictly in our facility.
Rick, would it be better to move this grass on this side so people channel right into the public park?
I'll pull right in this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can
Move
take a
this
look.
over here on the angle so they
Yeah.
can only go this far.
Yeah, we can take a look at that.
And my other question, you're gonna put a sign out, some sort of signage out near Lee Burbank? A street
I think
sign or
it's a
something?
direction, only a directional one, like, you know, a small directional one. It's
Right.
actually a telephone pole too, the farthest
That's
westerly
Mass
point.
Highway, they can put a sign up.
that, I don't
A directional sign.
You mean out on Lee Burbank?
Right, an
I'll be
informational
honest
sign
with
so
you.
people aren't.
We could put an address sign to 44
Yeah,
Railroad Street
something
or
like
something
that.
like that.
People-
Just can look
People
into
were
it.
sensitive to having a lot of signage. I think in a few years that'll probably change, but, that right now, they didn't want.
There's only one way in there, right?
Right, yeah, but it would be great for us, we'd love to stick a sign there, I mean, I guess I defer the city.
I think we could do it by address.
We can have you reconstruct the bridge for mitigation.
There you go. Well, listen, how about you get it approved? You
No,
can
they're
be with
working
the
on
railroad.
it. They're working on it.
Are they?
So as far as I know right now, there's 2 addresses at this site. I don't know if Mr. Isham can confirm that. I think this is 30 Railroad Street and this is 44 Railroad Street.
Well, yeah, they're all messed up.
Well, and that's fine. If, now's the time, I don't think that we're opposed to it if there needs to be a change that happens in here to clean up those addresses. We just need to know.
But we do need.
Sooner rather than later.
I think it probably does be corrected.
Yeah, we could talk offline about that. That way then when we apply for the building permit, we'll at least be putting the right.
The only thing I'd say is, I think that from a state licensing perspective, and where he gets his mail delivered now for Wellness Connection Access, we have in the memo, they've been doing it for 2 years, they've had offices out there and been licensing it, is 30.
30?
Yeah, and then he has a couple of different doors, he's designated as suites, but 30 Railroad Street, and that's actually where the RMD will be, the dispensary. So in terms of anybody going there, you know, somebody as a customer going there, a patient, they would go to 30 Railroad Street, and they'll be, you know, that's the obvious entrance. There are several other doors or offices, but the public entrance will be at what, at least they've been considering 30 Railroad Street. So I would.
So the preference would be to keep it 30 Railroad Street? just
Yeah,
like they
for
do
the
that's A,
R&D.
B, C, D,
What's
whatever.
the address of the other building?
44.
I think every used 44.
This is 112 right here.
Right.
Yeah, that's wrong.
This is 134.
So they have separate addresses?
Yes.
Well, I thought I believe the cultivation facility, Rick, is 44.
Correct.
So that whole property is 44. Right.
But the mailing address for this building is 30.
Yeah.
Nick, wouldn't it be better, Nick, wouldn't it be better for them to both have a separate address
Yeah, you have to look at
for delivery?
I think it's street, correct?
how we
Because I've seen a little bit of both in terms of that too, as you've looked back. Go through some of those old plans of records, you'll find an Ave. There's no question about it.
So, I mean, Frank, as I say in the memo, we commenced operation of the dispensary facility, business offices, and then September 1, 2006, right after we got the license. So currently, we have an ongoing operation there. but we don't have the cultivation end of it. So,
Yeah, we
I
haven't
make,
started dispensing or anything else, but
obviously, we haven't cultivated.
offices, we've actually started to ramp up. I think we've got 3 full-time employees now. So, yeah, well, it's gonna get up there, 50, 60, you know, I mean, they'll be not at the same time, but it's actually pretty good. It requires some manpower for the cultivation, so it'll be a good employer, I think. But again, my only request, address-wise, is that we use the 30 because that's what all the state licenses have been going to, because that's where they've been getting all their mail. So if it's possible to do that. If not, we'll just give notice to the state, but I'd rather keep it the same.
Just strike
Yeah, let me take a look at it.
Does anything you grow stay on site, or you grow for?
That cultivation facility, we've got one, in fact, Thursday night, we're anticipating getting approved in Peabody for just the dispensary, not cultivation. That facility, will be for at least Revere and Peabody. It ends up being 58,000 square feet of, they call it canopy of actual grow space, which is decently large, but, it's just so hard to predict what we'll need, but it's at least those two. There's you can license one more dispensary, so 3 total for the cultivation. We've got a couple of communities we're in discussions with, but that's, we don't want to get ahead of our skis in terms of not having enough product. And that has been problematic, particularly in the more densely populated areas. So we're happy, you know, the tortoise wins the race sometimes, and we're happy to kind of figure it out with everybody, do it right, make sure we have enough product available down the road. But that'll be no more than one other site, and it'll be in the general area.
Okay, Rick, so I'm trying to follow this schematic for entering and exiting the site. So you're proposing pervious pavers to kind of define the area of the parking lot for the number 112.
Yeah, even though this is our property here, there's use easements for access and egress across the whole front of this piece,
Yeah.
for the benefit of this site and this site.
So we just want an organized scheme, so it's just not an open area with cars
Agreed,
coming in in all directions. So the proposed planter works out great on the southerly side, I think that's the easterly side, yeah.
That's the southerly side.
Southerly side, yeah. And then you have your gate. So that channels flow in separate from that other facility where there are a lot of trailers parked there and a lot of heavy trucking coming in and
How
out.
wide's that driveway?
24 feet.
So it's still wet.
Yeah, so to the north, you're just proposing a different
Yeah, a paver
paver
strip. Because I gotta, these folks need to be able to access their loading docks are all right here. The picture shows small trucks, but often they get large trucks in there, so
Right.
they need this space to be able to, I can't put a raised island there, because it would,
So they just use your driveway basically?
they have an easement across our driveway, yeah.
So you can put adequate stripes.
I was just gonna try to do it with a different color brick to try to make it look a little nicer than striping.
Frank, I think that'll be all right.
Yeah.
And it helps with the drainage too. There's there's really not much for drainage infrastructure out there, so.
Okay, so the next step here is to update this final site plan review letter that was issued
Right.
after the special permit, the final building permit. So we'll do that through the e-permitting system, and who's ever on that
Yep.
email list will get a copy of that.
Okay, good, yeah. All these plans are on Citizen Serve, so I uploaded, except for the aerials.
There won't be much change in the conditions.
Okay.
And we'll upload the building permit plan sets. If anybody wants them separately or wants them in a different format, PDF or whatever, just let Rick know or Matt know and make arrangements. Either email them or if they're too big to drop boxes, so you can get them.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Come on, come on.
Actually just came to find me, it would informed me that the deadline isn't Friday, it's been moved up to 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Oh, okay.
Because the newspaper is publishing early or something.
I'll get to it as soon as I get
So will you be able to get it today?
Definitely.
Tonight? Thank you.
After the meeting, we also want to have a few questions regarding the demolition of this building with the underpinning.
Okay,
So
All right.
right after.
yeah, hang around. Yeah. Next site plan is for 62 Patriot Parkway. 62 Patriot Parkway? No? That's all I have on the agenda.
You don't have anything for 345 Broadway?
No, why don't you come on up?
Come on. No time like the present.
Did you submit online?
He had said that we were scheduled for today, so I'm just coming in now.
Let's find out what,
I didn't attempt to do it.
I didn't see it, I thought it was 62 Patriot
And I apologize.
What building is it?
The jewelry box.
Yep.
On Broadway, we just picked up these plans. I would have gotten more. Well, what you're looking at here is what is currently in place. Basement, mechanical. First floor is commercial, open, pretty much open, but there is a bathroom there. They make use of a basement storage area for the commercial space here. And then the second floor has been residential. We don't know what the city had it categorized as. I don't
we had it
believe it was.
commercial, but-
Right,
yeah,
I
that's-
believe that's
yeah.
the case.
We had it-
We just bought the property in
Yep.
May. We've
Yep.
transferred it into trust. We did sign an agreement with the fire department saying that if place is vacant, we would make sure it was to code before any occupants took place. He is looking to keep it as a residential, so correct it with the city. And again, what you're seeing here is what is in place. There are some notes that the architect put that we believe we need to add or install for compliance with the code to convert it to a residential legally. And that's what he's looking to do. He's looking to change the second floor to residential, keep the first floor as commercial.
What's going in the commercial, Joe?
We don't have a tenant yet,
Store, you're gonna rent.
but it would be some similar type store.
I
We
didn't
don't,
know if you already had a business.
I'm not sure, just no food.
yeah, we don't anticipate a restaurant. You know, we operate Papa Jack's and
No church?
No church. No church too, for sure. And no hairstyle.
Pretty small, man.
It's narrow in there. It's pretty small.
No, it's too much to move.
You can pass them through the wall.
I wish. Maybe just make the retail.
so the current owner is Lumage Broadway Realty Trust, Lumaj Broadway Realty Trust. There's a copy of the current deed with the book and page recording on it.
All right, so. So you're here just informing us that there's been a change in ownership.
Change in ownership
And is that-
and make it the legal, use compliance. And then we'll pull permits to bring it to code and have, everybody inspect and
Is this
approve
all
before
vacant
there's
now?
occupancy. It's vacant now. There's nobody in the building at all. Yeah, everything's been cleared out and the
We're-
storage
we're-
is out.
So we would like to work with you on the facade of that
I
building.
was just gonna say, taking that sign down.
Taking that sign off and creating,
yeah.
working with the city sign improvement program to have a
We have experience.
comparable sign that
Yeah,
exists on, that
He had
exists
just
on
finished
materials, Frank, right?
a little while back, 334 Broadway, which is the new dental
Yeah,
place. The
did a good
facade
job.
was done nice.
Did a
Yeah,
very
so
good
we're
job, yeah.
anticipating similar working experience as well.
Okay.
All right?
And I have a plan to some work in front after, because maybe now it's not.
Okay,
But you want us to get the sign down
Some ideas.
as soon as you can.
as soon as you can. All
No,
right, we can
it's
do-
not, it's down.
It's down? Oh,
I didn't see it, but we'll
No, that's-
confirm. The jewelry box sign is down?
It's down, yeah.
Okay,
down.
okay.
All right.
No, it's clean and now, but
Yeah.
in the future, I have a plan to make it nice, so
Yeah, well,
definitely I'm gonna be the customer, I like it. And,
Okay,
we have to
great.
do it. We talked to you to have an idea, have some ideas. and
Yes.
you
Yes,
Yeah, we'll
talk to
get,
us.
yeah, we'll get their letter first, and then we'll
Yeah.
go from
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Okay?
I have architects and
Yeah.
make some.
Just to make sure you're looking at these issues, looking at how this is kind of a separate bedroom and has to be part of this unit if you're approved to put a residential unit in here. Right now, the way this is, it's separated out, like this is a separate bedroom from the rest of the unit. That has to be part of this unit or has to go away. So just make sure you're addressing that. The egress is actually, the door is actually currently here, and this is open to the stairs.
Right.
There's a door here, so what he's showing.
What's shown open, but I think it's presently the way it is.
Gonna fix it.
Okay,
Yeah, it appears that way.
very good. Do we keep these, or?
So there won't be any letter from site plan review at
Okay,
this
just-
point. It'll just be coming, filing for an occupancy permit, for
We'll go bring it up to code.
for building permit, to bring it up to code.
All right, so we'll put plans together and get a contractor here to pull a
Yeah.
permit. Very good.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
All right. You want to keep one of these, or you want to take them? You want to take that?
Keep one back?
No, just submit it with your
Okay.
Do it, upload it to e-permitting.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you for seeing us.
All right, that concludes the site plan review committee meeting for June 26, 2018. Thank you.